Hi guys, and welcome to 2018 Cat Horoscope and my review for 2018. This is a general review. I want to see all signs and I want to see what the general energy will be. So it's worth to mention that we are also entering a year number 11. 11s are very spiritual. Aquarius rules number 11. This is not to say that everybody reaches 11's potential. You see, in numerology we have 1 to 9, and then we have special numbers 11 and 22. These numbers are given mastery. They're given special abilities in achieving certain things. These abilities are not given because we were born in that. We have to really work hard throughout our lives to really deserve them. For example, most 11s are going to spend most of their life up to their, I would say, 40s or maybe even 50s, really baking their trade and being exposed to all kind of circumstances. In tarot, justice, strength, because these two cards are kind of changeable in different decks, are 11. However, I also associate the High Priestess with 11. She is represented with the Roman 2, which to me does look like 11. 11 is a number of illumination. So 1 is a leader. 1 is a leader of the leaders, but also 1 plus 1 is 2. So check it out. In 11 we have unity of leadership and softness. Hence 11s are trained to be healers all their lives. As you can imagine, I'm a number 11, and I'm telling you this from experience on my own skin. It took me really up to recently to really realize how things should be positioned, and yet I don't have all the answers. I am still continuing to work on them. So now as I was laying down these cards, as you have seen, and I did put them on a fast, we do have 11 that reappeared, or appeared rather to say, and we do have the Master, which is 22. We also have a 2 over here, and we also have 1 over here, and we also have 0, which is kind of like a baseline. So it is really confirming that numerological number 2, year number 2, which is also going to be really good year for everybody who is a number 2, because you see, we 11s will live most of our lives as number 2. Number 2 means that we have to learn how to cooperate with others, but not to suck up to them and not to give in to them. Learn how to have our own spine while still actually accomplishing our things. This is really hard, and I really believe that that was like the guiding principle behind the Greek what do you call it, councils, right? Because first of all, you had to be 45 to enter it, and then that was assumed that you have learned lessons on your own skin, and hence you'll be able to better kind of handle them. So the very first card that came out from Earth Magic Oracle cards is Autumnal Equinox. Autumnal Equinox. We say fall here in North America, and release. So let's call it fall equinox. So what do we really see here? It's kind of interesting because I kind of like aligned this and wanted to interpret this sort of like as per quarters as well as globally, but it was kind of really interesting. This was the very first card that appeared, and in many areas of the world, trees prepare for the winter and conserve their energy by contracting their life force, right? Which is they release their leaves, which have required the rays of the sun and nourishment from the earth in order to maintain robust growth and appearance. It is kind of like not a decision that trees will make, at least not in the usual sense, right? Instead, it's a natural response to the decreasing cycle of light that sets up the gradual and steady release of the tree's leaves. How remarkable it is that these trees, and actually for that matter, all of the Earth Mother's children, simply know what to do with the changes in climate. Don't you wonder how sometimes it would be so nice to be programmed and know how to do and when? Although this seasonal shift appears to be a death of sorts, it's only a preparation for the next cycle of life, one that we naturally follow the more extreme contraction of winter, as kind of an aspect of the life, death, rebirth cycle, right, that we find is represented in so many different ways. So, being the first card, and after shuffling, I kind of stopped this and I was thinking, okay, how do I put this together? So I think this is what it means. To start out the year, it's the time to let anything in our life fall away that is no longer useful or needed for the emerging expression of who you are. You see, let's go back to that number 11. I just told you, I had to live most of my life, and most of the time, I will live as a number 2. In order to live as number 11, you really have to figure out what is important. And 99% of the things will not be important. So this is also telling us, right, that we have to shed what has become burdensome and what no longer is congruent with our soul's purpose. We need to conserve our energy by allowing ourselves more rest, while at the same time making preparations for the following seasons. In this case will be winter season. So interestingly enough, the very first quarter here is a winter, and it's asking us to kind of let go, especially look in material possessions. What is the guys that you don't really need? Because number 11 is very altruistic. They are not motivated by money. Be really brutally honest with yourself, because you have to figure out what you can give away and what has to be released, right? This card also tells me that we should consider shedding relationships that possibly serve their purpose and they're no longer viable, as well as work or a job that maybe has become devoid of interest and passion. With release comes a sense of being much lighter. I guess just like these trees, and they're kind of like openly naked as their leaves kind of departed from them. Life is ready to birth following a period of being quiet and going through gestation. So let go of whatever has outlived its purposefulness, I would say, and trust that something else will take its place. So I always advise, clean your closets, clean your house, make a room for something else, because it's just not possible to add more things in a glass that is full. We all keep saying, oh, I want this, oh, I want that, but then where is the room to place this? You have to understand that physically and spiritually we kind of like react in a similar way. We have to have a space to kind of place this in. And my Cat Tarot people, you, yes you are here because you do want to become a better person. And you are a better person just by listening to this, just by doing the small changes. It takes so little to change this world. And together we can do it. It takes literally one person to actually start the motion. And I think we are moving in this direction because the second card was crystals and focus. One of my favorite cards because my personal favorite color is purple. And this is an amethyst crystal cave that's sort of like bathing in the river or water. And also what I really like here are these kind of points of light, right? And this is kind of indicating that it has a spiritual and healing force. And the crystals do have this special, let's call it, magic, right? they have been used many years for decoration, but like in particular purple has been used by royalty and by clergy because it also had the higher purpose, which was to connect us with our purpose and who we are supposed to be and open up our psychic capabilities. So since the violet color is the same as the crown chakra, it has often been referred to as a spiritual stone. So the nature of quartz crystals, the second most common element in the Earth's crust, is they help focus the power of our life, force, or spirit. And where attention goes, power flows, and crystals magnify this power tenfold. Our intention influences where our attention goes. When we are consciously aware of our attention, it facilitates the focus of the spiritual power and also supports the manifestation in reality. So, if you only heard blah, 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 I get it. First of all, you're going to be provided a link, and it's a quick link to Amazon where you can get yourself an amethyst crystal. I highly advise you do that because it's simply a stone that makes you think, makes you wonder. Just by sitting in front of you, it's going to give you a direction. It's the stone that rules us instead of us ruling the stone. So this is telling me it is time to bring our complete focus to the subject that we really want. So of course we cannot put something new in the house unless we clean it. So we are starting with that motion, and then we are really thinking what we want. Whether this is a project, relationship, or simply a relaxing time that we want to spend walking in the nature, we have to kind of like realize that we need to be present for it. And we need to kind of like really release our wishes to the universe. So the crown chakra is the top chakra that kind of opens up. That's why people say love and light, because through crown chakra, through the spine, that light enters and helps us to kind of go in this direction that we want. And it has to be free. So you can get the circulation of light by actually, and connect to your karma, by actually having the small steps, as I'm telling you, by focusing and clearing it. This is actually going to help us have this crystal clarity, as they say, right? And be in the flow of life force and have actually become one with it. So then our wish is not going to be some wish, something that is somewhere else written, you know, or what they say, Dr. Phil, just write like, what you want and just like wait for it to happen. It doesn't work this way. You have to be realistic with yourself. You have to see what you cleared. You have to see what possible issues you had. Did you handle too many things at once? Do you need to kind of like focus on fewer things than usual? So guys, keep your eyes, ears, and heart focused on that what you need to pay attention to, and miracles can be created. I do wish you to focus on 2 or 3 things. And I do not advise to focus on, let's say, a person. I would focus on a concept. If this is love and spiritual union, I would say, I need to create that. This is my focus. Once when you go into, he has to be 6 feet tall, she has to be blonde, thin model, you're wasting the gifts that the universe can shower you. Because everybody gets what is perfect for us at the time for our learning lesson. Because we have these soulmates coming, but we also have a spiritual contract, or as I call it, the karma contract. You guys have all received a special offer for karmic contract to figure out what you can actually fix and what you can actually pay attention to, because it does help. For me, I wish I had that done for myself, because I kept repeating one mistake after another. I kept meeting the same person in a different body and repeating my mistakes until it finally, I had that tower moment and exploded in my face. And by the way, we do not have the tower the entire year. Isn't this awesome? So look at that. It kind of like makes sense that the next phase would be this rainbow. And isn't this something that we always, and I don't know which one of you doesn't stop in awe by seeing something so beautiful? So what is rainbow? It is created by the collaboration of sunlight and water in the atmosphere. You can do it yourself simply, right? By washing the car. So what happens? The water droplets become tiny prisms that collectively diffuse and disperse light onto a ribbon of colors, right? And then we see every hue that we are capable of seeing on this planet. So rainbows symbolize many things, right? Including good luck, bridge to heavens, and abundance. It is really difficult for any of us to ignore the majesty of rainbow, right? And this gentle power. It is like almost like gods are smiling at us. So when you see the rainbow, the storm has passed, and it is time to enjoy the refreshing beauty of this cycle. Maybe even if times have been difficult, even if clearance of things basically wanted us to kind of deal with, things that maybe we didn't want to deal. If we did that, we are going to be rewarded, right? Don't just look at, quote unquote, the brighter side, because this is called also blessings. Don't try to adhere to some, academic mantra that has no heart and has no depth. I hear people repeating their positive affirmations. Let me tell you, it doesn't work. So instead, show your genuine gratitude in words and in deeds to the other people. This ever-evolving process of life itself is a blessing, and it is an opportunity to exist as a human being on Earth. Our planet is truly a beautiful garden. Let's keep it. We are so close to destruction, guys. Do you know that not a single psychic, not a single, as they call them, eye-seers, see this planet past year 2100? Most of us are parents. We would like our children to have their children and so on and so forth. But it is on us and upon us to kind of give love to the planet, because planet was giving this love to us all along. So even though, as I said, this planet is possibly a really beautiful garden, maybe sometimes doesn't appear to be so. Sometimes all we see is wars and issues, right? Now keep thinking about the blessings. And as far as blessings, I want you to bless your difficult or even painful experiences and let them go. I think this is sort of a second call. And then new things will happen. The very last card here that I have is a new moon. And I love this new moon because it comes with this like such a loving couple gazing the romantic sunset. So it is a time for the new beginning. 11 year after all is going to help all of you who are willing to be light workers. Yeah, and this is what makes my channel different. I don't just give you some quick get together, or he's going to leave you, he's going to come back and not to come back. Yes, you get that part as well. But this is the key part, because we are an army of do-gooders. We are an army of people who can actually move us forward. And for those of you who do really want to do that, it's a promise that we are going in this direction. So whether this is to help others, to go to the higher realm, to launch a project, a new relationship, or a new something that kind of has been tucked away for a later date, this is the time. We did set intention. We did kind of give our blessings. And now it is a time to emerge. And anything that has been in the dark, maybe some of us wonder, will this ever happen? Rest assured, do this job, do this work that I have asked you to do, and it will happen. The next step, this step as a new moon, is to put into action what is required to fully realize this idea. Because as you know, moon has the phases, right? It initiates another lunar circle, right? It's moving from darkness to fullness and then back again over approximately 1 month. I don't know, it's like 28.5 to 29 days. The promise is that the moon is going to be there, right? As long as the moon exists. So whatever the new project is, it has to be done on healthy grounds, because obviously we have been asked so many times over this year to do it. This is number 11. I told you, number 11 is not an easy number, but it gives you numerous rewards if you're willing to do the work. You will not believe the red carpet treatment. And it is just like that. You're going to say, oh my gosh, I'm rewarded for who I am, for just being nice to people. So this card promise has two meanings. It can be a commitment and guarantee to yourself or someone else that a particular thing will happen, or it can imply that something specific is expected to happen. When you align your will with the will of spirit, and when you focus upon what you wish to have happen, then this promise will be kept. So I was going into so many details about these 4 cards because as I noticed this waterfall down in the other decks, it kind of like summarized really succinctly really the rest of the story. So let me explain. Look at this. In the other cards, what do we have? In tarot, we have major arcana and minor arcana. There is a huge difference. Arcana means secrets. And those are those universal secrets that we are here to actually go and get through the dark and get into the light and kind of like move into the better life. Third eye chakra came out. The crystals came out. That message repeated. And so did the solar plexus chakra, which is the center, which kind of regulates both our connection with the other people and our ability to give the confidence, as well as our comfort with that we can handle daily tasks. So we have transformation, we have awareness, we have balance, we have trust, we have completion, and we have the master. I have to tell you, I am so beyond impressed what kind of cards we have. So let me give you sort of like a little information about the first quarter. The first quarter is going to be some kind of transformation. So in the other decks, this card is called Death card. And that card with itself carries that mission. Sort of like it can be very ominous, kind of like and strange and harsh, but can also be a beginning of a new phase, such as death of pregnancy is the beginning of a child. So hence it's kind of very joyful occasion, right? So it's asking us to release what doesn't work and actually see what we can do differently. Because remember, if you keep doing the same things over and over, we cannot expect different results. It's also asking us to kind of like attend to new vitality. Look at that. This is also a purple card. And I don't know if you can see it with the sliding, but again, it's connecting to this like 2 chakra sort of like focuses that we need to have, telling me, and there is this rainbow motive again, telling me that maybe if we need to kind of go to a new fitness routine, or if we want to exercise, we kind of have to kind of like realize what we neglected, because it's reversed. And so is this card. Awareness reversed, again, look at that. It's again telling us about this crown chakra. Again, it's telling us about the magic and about certain things that we should be able to connect and to create. So when awareness is reversed, just like new vitality, this is kind of telling me that some of us are not really aware, and maybe we have been going through some kind of suffering. And suffering is very much like stale water, right? When you drink water, everything seems to be okay. Leave it in a glass, it's going to get icky and yucky. So we need to kind of at least kind of acknowledge what we need to release in order to know how to transform. And then we are giving the tools how to do that. And creator here is basically the Zen master. Look what he has. He has the solar plexus chakra, right? So this card invites us to basically recognize and participate in understanding that, you know, everybody who mastered this kind of fires, the solar plexus, these are the fires of passion, right? This is the person who is able to kind of create a better thing for themselves and for everybody else. Because as you know, without fire, it will be hard to survive. And sometimes also fire can go out of control. So it has to be integrated, that there is no longer any difference between who this person is inside or who we are inside and in the world outside. So that's generally the gift of understanding and integration, right? So the gift of light that I was telling you about. So this is King of Fire or King of Wands, that tells us that anything that we undertake now with the understanding that all that we want to undertake, what has to come from maturity, will bring enrichment to our own lives and to the lives of others. Using whatever skills you have, whatever you have learned from your own life experience, it is a time to express yourself. So this card here tells me that must be some kind of hidden masterpiece inside of you guys. Maybe it was on a back burner. Maybe you were told you cannot create it. Because this is generally in the other decks called a magician, who can create anything. And then it's saying, oh no, I cannot do it. Maybe we convinced ourselves we cannot do it. Maybe others convinced us that we cannot do it. But this is telling us, yes, you can. You're carrying a masterpiece hidden within you, but you're standing in a way. So just move aside and the masterpiece will be revealed, right? So everyone is a masterpiece, because God never gives birth to anything less than that. Everyone carries that masterpiece hidden from many lives, not knowing who they are and just trying on the surface to become someone. So how to do it? Drop the idea of becoming someone, because you already are that masterpiece. You cannot be improved. You have only to come to it, to know, to realize it. So it is understanding that what you are bringing to the table is important, and that what you're bringing to the table should be honored, that what you're bringing to the table should be respected. It is how we do it, how we say it. And I would say for some of you, that will be also some people that we possibly need to get rid of. People, relationships, and stuff. Oh my gosh, especially if you live in North America or Europe, or I would say Australia, sort of like the first world countries, I would say, we have so much stuff. And there are so many people who don't have them. So guys, let's transform. Let's see what is important. In the second quarter, when we need to focus, we will be challenged. And this is what happens with number 11. And we have this balance. Any imbalance is going to be corrected. Look at that. We have the circular motion here yet again, right? So it's like 3-4 times that we have it here. So we kind of like have to realize that we probably already have everything we need to have. And Nine of Fire is talking about a strategy. Here is talking about focus, the spiritual growth. But hey, just because we focus and sit in front of the fireplace and we want the soulmate to arrive, hey, unless we do something, unless we, let's say, get ourselves in shape, kind of create the profile, go and meet other people, it's not going to happen. So this is talking about some kind of strategy, some kind of like creation of it, even though maybe that didn't work in the past. And I think this is why this came back, saying maybe certain things didn't look in the past, but maybe just a small shift in a different direction will actually bring us to different results. This is not all about just winning and losing, right? This is about the heart. This is about what is the good for us. Especially this applies to people who are in some kind of like 3 people situation. Resolve it. Do you know how? Get out of it. It's as simple as that. Nobody needs to suffer. This definitely card says that there is suffering that is kind of included. So it's asking you to transform out of that suffering. You are right to demand the truth, because look at that. She's steering it. She's demanding the truth. She wants to let this light in, right? She wants to ground herself. And it is not all about the victory, but I think this card in here is saying that we have to redefine it. This victory should be about ourselves. This card here, again, is basically what happens when we don't know how to balance things properly. When, you know, we forget that our mind is meant to be a servant, and we allow our mind to run our lives. Look at this head. It's filled with all kinds of mechanisms, and this mouth is ranting and raving, right? And the whole surrounding atmosphere is kind of being polluted, as you can see. But this I don't know, what is this? Factory, I guess, chimneys, but it's probably talking about factory of arguments and opinions. I don't know how often you guys to go to Facebook, Instagram, television, chat rooms. Everybody has their own 2 cents, and everybody has to have a snarky, smart comments, because simply we feel in a world that is kind of like really intruding upon of us. But also we partially are responsible for ourselves, right? Some of us can say, hey, wait, the mind is what makes us human. It's the source of all progress. It's the source of all truths. It's like what makes humans better than anybody else. Well, if you believe that, try an experiment. Go into your room, shut the door, turn on a tape recorder, and give yourself total permission to say whatever it is, quote unquote, on your mind. If you really allow it to all come out without any censorship or editing, you'll be amazed at the amount of rubbish that comes out of our mouths, right? So this is the Page of Clouds, or Page of Swords. And it's telling us that somebody somewhere is stuck in a head or in a head trip. So take a good look and make sure this isn't you. If you're guys dealing with somebody like that, who is trying to force some kind of control or their vision of truth, because these 3 cards are very kind of like mind cards. These are air cards. Look at this. Air, 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 air. So to me, what is amazing about that is that the lots of, from the first 6 months, will be in the realm of thinking. So this is going to be very, very important to address, that we don't overthink, that we actually have to go with emotional response, where we already know where we don't feel right, and simply figure out what better ways we can go about it. Maybe what is the better partner for us, and what is the better situation for us. Seeking the truth, I more or less see what is the truth for us. I think these 2 faces, these 2 minds, are our mind, because sometimes we think one way and then somebody else convinces us into something else. Nothing wrong about that. It is okay to change your mind. Now, this is the card that tells you that sometimes people can be sneaky, and if you really know who you are, and knowing who you are is coming from our solar plexus, so I would advise solar plexus chakra exercises, sitting in the sun, that kind of things, because you see, she's kind of letting that thing come through. Then we would know if somebody is telling us the truth, if this is also our truth. And if it isn't, we are just going to let go of that. So this is not about winning against somebody, but it's, again, I reiterate, winning ourselves, because we will be so close to completing that journey, to kind of putting this last puzzle in who we want to be, that it's going to be almost like you can almost touch it, you can almost feel it, and yet it's going to be some kind of wall, because this card came reversed. We will still need to put the final touches, because to become a number 11, to live number 11, you're always and always and always being challenged. You're always being thrown something else. So just don't say, oh, well, I did this easy exercise and something else happened and now I don't want to do it. This is what kind of year is going to be. Huge benefits, but going to be lots of work. You cannot give up, because the completion is very near. This like Mona Lisa smile, this everything is right here. We cannot go back, guys. We can only go forward. And I wish that all of us go forward in a much better us. So this is the last call for us to walk away from things that don't work. Look, is this kind of chest of money or old memories or something that we have accumulated with somebody so important if somebody is not treating us right? Did you ever ask yourself, is there something else out there better for you? Did you ever ask yourself if you trust yourself and if you want something better? Did you ever ask yourself why you haven't done certain things? Why didn't you open your arms and fly? Trust reversed, or the Fool card reversed, tells me that maybe there is still a concept that has been lost on us, even in the third quarter of the 2018. Remember, you can only go to third eye chakra if you conquer all the other chakras. In particular, two of them will be very prominent. Also, what I find interestingly is like these two colors are also opposing colors on the spectrum. So 11 means, as I told you, there are two ones, leaders of the leaders, but also a very feminine principle. This is kind of very difficult, meaning you can say very, very harsh words to someone. It is how you say it. And it is to say it really, with real intention to help them and them understanding that this is what you're doing. But rewards, guys, are astonishing, right? Not only do we have this spiritual union, but we also have this Master card. So what is the spiritual union, guys? This is a soulmate card, but not kind of like any cheesy soulmate card. This is like a really, really good one. This is like when you kind of look at this again in the third eye, you connect with someone. For those of you who did your work, who didn't kind of tuck things away, just continue things the same old, those of you will be actually uniting with somebody. Maybe you already have a relationship that has been suffering. Maybe some of us will have this relationship that was more or less based on somebody always upping us one, or somebody always needing to look better or needing to be admired, or we felt that somebody's taking away maybe our peace of mind, maybe money. But we have been working all year long to shed this, to get to this union. And guess what? Number 22. We have mastered it. So the master is Zen, is not a master over others, but the master of himself. And I don't know if you can see it, this also is a purple card. So his every gesture and his every word reflect his enlightened state. So as I told you, he has no private goals, right? So he has no desire that anything should be other than the way it is. His disciples basically gather around him, not to follow him, but simply to soak up the presence and be inspired, simply to learn. This is somebody who who doesn't do things because he thinks he has to create something. It's somebody who just really enjoys, and he kind of doesn't mind sharing what he or she has. If you guys find such a master, somebody who can help you along your path, who can guide you, you're going to come to that spot yourself really, really fast, and you'll be blessed. If you can't, keep on searching, because by the end of the year, you're supposed to get there. So keep on moving, guys. So 2018, I actually pulled one more card, which I haven't shuffled in front of everybody, but it's this one. Oops. Loyal Heart. And I'm going to read to you what it says. It has a number of layered messages, and I really like to see two owls, right? Two owls represents wisdom, but in this case represents the heart. So it says this: evidence of loyalty will appear in your life. By the way, Aquarians and number 11 is known for loyalty. And if you're telling me, oh my gosh, Kat, what are you talking about? I know this Aquarius and he or she cheated on me. Yeah, that's a number 2. That's a very beginning existence, because they were supposed to spread their wings and fly. They still haven't reached it. But this is for other people who did their work, right? So altogether, this year is going to have this flavor that others will prove faithful to us, and we will in turn be able to fully commit to them. So there is a sure and abiding certainty in your heart. Know that Spirit is always loyal to you. No matter the outer circumstances in your life, trust and have faith, for you are eternally loved, always divinely protected and divinely directed. For the relationship, it says, your partnership, friendships, and romantic relationships will have many qualities in common right now. Honest devotion, faithfulness, and a loyal heart are being shown to you. Are you as loyal in return? Now is the time for heartfelt commitments and trusting in divine protection. Prosperity message. Your long-term loyalty to your goals is becoming evident in the world of conditions, where your aspirations for success assume form in reality. Success is finally taking shape. If you are loyal to your dreams, faithful to your plans, while remaining flexible and devoted to serving others, you will be shown proof of your true prosperity. This is a time for a joyful celebration of Spirit and manifesting a partner. And lastly, we also get protection message. Are you stubborn, or are you overly tenacious about an idea? Or have you become so attached to something that you just don't know how to let it go? Could it be that it's become so much a part of you that you don't want to know, or you wouldn't know who you are without it? Now it is time to look at outdated beliefs, old ideas, and misplaced loyalties. Betrayal is only a signal that it is time to prune away all who don't deserve your trust and have no place in your life. Be new, think new, and open your heart to new things. Let go of the old and all your attachments. Spirit has awesome plans for you. Make some room. So guys, as you can see, this talks about betrayal. It's talking about that maybe we have been betrayed, and maybe we are betraying ourselves. This is asking us to let go of the past. This is asking us that if something is out of balance, because this is a karmic number and it is a number 11, that things eventually will be in balance. We eventually will have this trust. We eventually will open our arms, and things will come. Things will come. We need to kind of get the strength in who we are, what we want, and then walk away from things that are not important, that no longer serve us. Let bygones be bygones, and get rid of the people who upset you. And if you spend time being upset or mulling over certain issues, it's not going to serve the purpose. The best cause of action, put its finishing touches and say, hey, Thank you. Thank you for being a part of my journey. It is time for me to move on. And I'm moving on because I'm becoming the master. I do love you. However, my love has to be given to somebody else at this point. So thank you guys for this general introduction. Now we are going to go in particular signs. Hi Leo, and welcome to 2018 annual Horoscope review. So, as you probably heard, we kind of have an interesting year ahead of us. We have sort of like, you have to do your homework or else it's going to be much harder for you if you don't. So this kind of like particular part of kind of looking into your sign, looking at your own quarters, is going to give us kind of the opportunity to kind of like further detect in which area of your life and in which timing you kind of like have to maybe kind of like give a push, or what issues you have to deal with. There is like a difference between monthly forecast and yearly sort of like the stuff that I feature on my channel, and with this annual forecast. This is more like telling you this is where you're getting there. You're getting to some kind of like really new level, but there is work to be done. So I'm focusing more on what has to be done on your homework, because if you do homework, you have like really immense and unbelievable rewards you will actually reap this year. So actually, you know what, let me start from this sacral chakra. This kind of like what's interesting, and you know, by you getting this, it's really telling me about issues that have to have the center stage for you this particular year. So the sacral chakra is usually associated with the following psychological and behavioral functions: emotions, feelings, relationships, relating, expression of sexuality and sensual pleasure, feeling the outer and inner worlds, creativity, and fantasies, right? So this is kind of like what we are talking about, realm of emotions. It is the center of our feelings and center of our sensations. It's very active in our sexuality. That's why they are saying it's a sexual chakra. It is like kind of located in our groin, where our genitals are located, right? It is motivated by pleasure, and it is the driving force for the enjoyment of life through the senses, whatever those senses are, whether auditory, through taste, touch, or sight. So opening this chakra allows you to feel the world around us, and you actually do have even the world card to boot. It is a very important chakra at the foundation of our feeling or well-being. This chakra is also fundamental in developing flexibility in our life. It is associated with the water element and your fire. So it's going to be kind of challenge for you to kind of like really resolve, and not to kind of like kill it, or you not to be killed in the process. This is characterized by movement and flow in our emotions and thoughts. It supports personal expansion and the formation of identity through kind of like how we relate to the others and to the world, right? It is very important to restore this chakra. So let me tell you how you may know if you have imbalance and what level of imbalance you might have here, right? Usually when this sacral chakra is balanced, the relationship with the world and other people is centered around nurturing, pleasure, and kind of harmony, harmonious exchanges, which, by the way, also kind of came out here. Imbalance can manifest as dependency, codependency with other people. Maybe you're going for too quick sources of pleasure, right? You might be ruled by emotions. You also actually could be quite the opposite, feeling completely numb and out of touch with yourself and how you feel. It could be also overindulgence in fantasies. Also, of course, overindulgence in sexual behaviors, obsessions. It also could be the opposite of that, lack of sexual desire and lack of sexual satisfaction. Sometimes it's as simply as feeling stuck in a particular mood, right? And in a particular way of how to deal with that. Now, this kind of has this like subtle, what I call it, pastel orange color, right? And this is the symbol for it. So I would say, kind of like doing your work on this level, I would say simply when you sit down, maybe wrap a towel around yourself that is sort of like the soothing orange color. Maybe you simply want to spend some time. The sun is more or less working with the solar plexus, but you also get some orange energy when you're in the sun, so that does help. And simply kind of like quietness and meditation, given this is the water element, you're connecting with the emotions. So you're starting this year with volcano. Oh my God, right? So what's going on? Here you're seeing total explosion. I was just recently on YouTube checking a live feed for volcano in Hawaii that was just about to explode. And you could see just tiny little kind of like steam coming out. To get to this level, the earth is really, really angry. So what have you been suppressing, Leo? What is inside of you that maybe you kind of use your polish and niceness to kind of get by, but kind of got stuck inside, and maybe you started to resent? So the first quarter for you might be a particular volatile time. It could be unexpected changes, sometimes, you know, even sudden and very dramatic, and sometimes occurring in a way that you really don't have a control over. This could be you, mind you. This could be somebody else. This is that proverbial tower in tarot cards, right? Sometimes like these occurrences that might be happening in your life may shake up everything that you formerly thought as a foundation of your own security. It can even be a cause for you to assess your direction in life, and very much in particular to your relationships and even to work that you chose to do. So keep in mind that even though certain things in the first quarter right off the bat might rock your world, know that spirit is the guiding force behind them. It is basically a matter of finding your trust that life knows what's doing in the midst of these storms of change. It also will require you to make adjustments quickly and not to cling to what it was. Instead, moving forward and welcome with your arms wide open the new things coming to your life. Because you truly have nothing to fear. Things in your life will be starting to work and start to work really well. When this card appears, it says simply that some kind of discharge has to happen. Something got bottled up. Whether you or somebody else, it could be something that needs to be clarified. And we can see it here. You literally are going to feel really energized to maybe even claim your truth. This card, Passion Ignited, in this deck, it's simply saying, like, I mean, even though this discharge could happen and then you can start all over, it can have few minutes for some of you. For the others, this could mean, you know, second chances. And second chances would only happen if things are restored. If, you see, this scorches earth, right? But this also nourishes the land once when disaster is over. So I think you'll be addressing something which could have referred to, some kind of instability that you had in your life. You have a feeling alone reversed. Maybe you're not feeling alone anymore, but to some extent you feel disconnected from something or somebody. There is an issue of a comparison over here. Comparison can also mean, this is my third person kind of card. In this case, we have comparison between bamboo and oak. So which one is better? One is like thin and kind of like grows really, really fast. Another one slowly grows and has this like immense value. I really don't think that comparison is a valid word over here. So when you have like these fives, of course, after this explosion is going to be a period of instability, and it's something that you need to build. You also have two more fives. So the entire year is going to be something you need to take charge. You need to take a reign of, because remember, in tarot, you are number 8, right? You're the strength. This year is absolutely challenging your strength. Absolutely. Because this kind of like would represent that card in here. And this is like in the second quarter. So first quarter, oh my gosh, brace yourself, guys. Really do brace yourself. But it looks like it's going to be for the best. You really need to kind of like figure certain things out. And if there is a third party over here, this is like what's going to be kind of like resolved over here. Then you're getting to this card in the second quarter. So we are talking April to what? April, May, June, right? So the stone people, right, stand in their vigil among the shores on the ocean, right? So what are we basically experiencing here? We're experiencing that something that we really take for granted, right? That all earth elements, such as the sea, wind, earth itself, are basically part of maybe a bigger picture. It's maybe a part of Gaia. It's maybe a part of the universe. We just take it for granted, and we sometimes feel that we are conquering the nature, where the nature always conquers us. So your card, the strength, which kind of like this one really relates to it, talks about conquering not the things on the outside, but the things on the inside, right? Because you need to kind of like develop, if you haven't already, respect for ancient kind of like and relative, how would I say this? You know, like respect for strength, I would say. It's not really absolute strength. So something that you can really do yourself, right? So standing tall, kind of like really maybe being exposed to the other people, to the other elements. This is like really telling a lot of story, right? Because the subtitle is vigilance, right? So remain vigilant in this quarter and not out of fear. Vigilance simply means opening up your mind and senses to information that is presented to you through your eyes, ears, physical sensations. Also, detach your thoughts. That's why you have these clouds. This is again taking me to sacral chakra, right? This is especially true in 2 areas. First, follow any gut feelings that tell you to be wary about someone or something. Listen to yourself, because remember, the sentence can create codependency, and instinctual thinking really kind of like removes you from that web of I have to or I should have to, right? Secondly, pay close attention to an important opportunity that will present itself, one that is going to truly enhance your life and the lives of others. So maintain your vigilance. You will be seeing the clues around you and inside of you. And examine all situations that come your way with heart and intuition, and also harmony, because this is how this serves you. So stand tall. It is kind of like really big times for you to kind of claim your strength. If you had some kind of emotional loss, guys, which you might have here with this volcano, you will be literally cleaning the house over here. You're going to leave old in old, and you're going to kind of like have a completely newfound zest for the future. So if some loss was experienced, it's going to be cleared. It's going to be the end of that. You're going to embrace everything that happened. And this is the card saying, well done, Leo. It is a time to move to the next project. right? And as you know, next project starts with the lesson number 1, and it is a long path. And we see here also the ending of one phase. Ripeness came reversed, though it's a similar message. Look, it talks about bounty. It talks about, tree finally blossomed and bore fruits. So now we have one apple kind of like dropping off. So what is the moral of the story? Is this now apple sad to be kind of disconnected? Because many readers will tell you, oh gosh, somebody doesn't want to be single because this is the single apple. Really, would you say that? Oh gee, I'm so sad about this apple. No, this apple is ready. And I always tell people that this card, 9 of Pentacles, is extremely important one. This talks about you being ready to understand who you are, fully understanding your edges, fully understanding your personality, what you bring to board, the fullness of this fruit. Being reversed, you're still getting there. You're still getting there. This is going to be one of the phases that you need to do in this particular time period. In the third quarter, you are spreading your wings. Look at this whale breach. Whale is like one of those magnificent animals that simply, takes your breath away when you see them. And yet, even though their element is water, right? They sometimes take time and just go completely out to their element to see basically just simply a different side and see how that can be experienced. Whale is equivalent of the hangman in this case, except it is active. It is actively looking for joy, not looking for a sacrifice. So you guys might completely get out of something that you consider normal and natural or new ways of doing things. Maybe you're going to be forced into that because the destiny came reversed. This is your karma card. So something in the third quarter is going to be a really, really karmic for you. You might even think the tides have turned against you because it came reversed. But I don't know if you're noticing, there is like this flower of life motive here in the background of this card. And you can see here that there are like phases. And whether you're up or you're down, right? Each and every time, see there's the light that is going through us, we are still experiencing the same flow, right? So it is basically saying to really enjoy that, it will be the whale saying, oh my gosh, I'm out in the air, I'm experiencing bad luck because I am not able to breathe, even though they are mammals, so they do breathe, basically just like as us. But for you, this particular quarter is more or less going to come in the area of effort. It's going to take lots of things to put together, especially for the couples. You might need the assistance of the other people, and you will need their mastery. You will absolutely have no control over the situation, and maybe that's why you're going to feel, oh my gosh, I'm losing it. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to go about it. Because it looks like the dust will settle in the first quarter. In the second quarter, you're really getting a grip on everything that you need to get a grip on. It's kind of like really well done. But then the new lesson is, and you see there's again 10, something is turning around over here, reverse. So these two lessons I feel are sort of combined. Something will possibly be even related to your work, maybe a finishing stage, maybe it is a time to move on, or it's going to be some non-defined situation that still needs to be resolved, and you resolve it maybe in your heart, but you didn't resolve it, let's say, on the paper, or I don't know, for example, if somebody's divorcing, maybe it's going to be the final stage. Okay, I get it, I'm getting a closure, and you don't think about it, but maybe still the paperwork and final resolution has to happen. Or on a positive side, maybe, like you have been in a relationship that has been going well, but you were not necessarily expressing all your needs, and now this went too far. And now maybe the other person is doing something which maybe they wouldn't be doing if you were kind of creating balance, proper balance, and that's where that strength card kicks in, because the strength card talks about you need to conquer that beast in you, but not to a point that now you're neglecting yourself. You are like not a sheep, you are still a lion. So this control is something that you will need to work on. It could be you, that you feel stuck. As you can see, he's stuck from all the sides. His fists are clenched. Think about when you think about certain things, when do you clench your fists? When do you feel like this kind of motion? Because this is going to give you answers to what efforts will have to be made. But you know what I see is going to go up and down. It's not necessarily going to be horrible like this bad guy showing. And even if you have bad luck, you will kind of like experience like this really amazing level of joy over here. And then last quarter, it's going to be very interesting because it is asking you simply to kind of relax. It is asking you to kind of understand. This is more or less my card of life. And again, most of us forget, just like in this card, that we are only one small part of a much bigger system. Never mind Milky Way galaxy, never mind the planet. How about the forest? You go in the forest and you breathe in the oxygen, just like this whale. And you give out the carbon monoxide, which plants need. So we are actually having this symbiotic relationship that benefits everybody. It's not like it's me there and I'm going to cut you and I'm going to kill you, because you're guys basically killing your own basic life support. So it is something about new breath to life, new breath to doing it. It's definitely calling for you, but it's asking you to kind of resolve your issues. The harmony could be an issue. What is that you guys don't want to see? What is like that you are not in the moment? Because look here, something is just not getting in. You're closing all your chakras for some reason. Maybe you really want someone and you are going back to these patterns that you've forgotten that you have been dealing with. Maybe you really think that the end goal is going to bring you this destiny and happiness. The truth is, you have to backtrack. You have to backtrack and you have to live in a moment. This is not the time to go very far in the future. The very last quarter is going to definitely ask you to be present, because this card here is also talking, it's another 5, right? As I told you, you had 5, 5, 5, and 5. You have 4 5s. This is telling me a really big story that you're again going to get one more lesson. Looks like you're being questioned here. Hey guys, Leo, are you going to stabilize? Are you going to exercise the strength? And somebody blows the lid off. Then they're like still kind of like small, kind of like tidal waves of this in the second quarter, but tiny. And it's kind of like really well resolved. And then pretty much it's new path, establishing new path. And again, you're going back to your path because the strength card is number 8, and this is like a sub part of your card. And even here, 6 and 2 is 8. So the part of your strength is more or less going to apply in relationships and something that is going to push you forward. This is definitely asking, look at this, trapeze, acrobats. What do you think they're thinking about? Do you think what they need to cook that day? Do you think they think what they need to wear? How much fat they have on their hips? Nope. They think, what do I need to do right now? And their focus is not 100%, it's 1,000,000% in the moment. Literally from second to second, not from minute to minute. And this is going to be also your best bet, because like learning how to be in the now is something that is going to be bridge over troubled waters, if there are any, and might be some kind of disharmony, not necessarily in relationships. It could be something in general. Refusing to see basically means making a decision or somebody else making a decision for you. It's not extremely comfortable situation. But guys, you do this work, you do this homework that I'm telling you, exercising your strength. Yeah, clean your system, get it out of your system, whatever you need to do to kind of like start fresh, because you're going right from 1 and you're ending up on 21, which is the last card in tarot. Like the completion is there, and then the new lesson starts with certain karmic lessons. These karmic lessons could be in your relationships, but if you pass, this is what happens. you guys are set to sail. And this is like going into 2019. And this is connecting to this sacral chakra. It's really connecting with tying the loose ends this year, and not to allow events, issues, or people to come in your way. You really have to have this huge focus, go with what you need to do, and kind of connect with everything. You see, the breath is also asking to be experience totality. Don't go there to think about relationships, about what you want, about what kind of house you want to have. No. Actually, I did post on Facebook a really lovely cartoon. A dog and a guy were sitting on a bench, looking in a distance, which was just a gorgeous lake, and enjoying the sunset. So you would think. But then it was showing these little balloons. What is the guy thinking of, and what is the dog thinking about, right? So the guy thinks of house and car and trips, right? These big lofty ideas. And the dog is looking at the scene. He's thinking of this scene. So this is what this is saying. Guys, be more present, more connect yourself, because to get onto this new level which you're going into, right, it takes, because this is all the beginnings. You are exercising who you're supposed to be, but look at this. You're having a 2 and 1 and 2. So it's the beginning of a completely new phase. So talking about the year number 11 for you guys, you are not necessarily going to have such a big, what to put it, mess, even though you do have a destiny card. But this is more or less something you're resolving from 2017. This was the year that we had pretty much the upside down for all signs. You have to figure out what basically happened in this year. They challenge you, that it was out of control, and what kind of effort you had to put in there, because somehow you're finding the way out of it in the third quarter. And 11 year is also your number 2, because 1 and 1 is 2. 2 is like much lower vibration of 11. 11 is really pushing you out. And I mean, I'm Aquarius. I am 11th sign. I'm also born in basically year number 11, and my name adds to 11, so whammy, right? But you cannot live as 11 most of your life. It really took me to really being in late 30s to really start realizing, oh my gosh, I am not meant just to put a food in my mouth, or child's mouth, or I kind of like have to be a bigger a part of something much bigger, and kind of like humble yourself. So ego really needs to be shed. So, but you live most of your life as 2, because 2 is, because like this is the difficulty of 11. You're both 1 and 2, right? Because 11 means leader of the leader. Hey, just because I just popped out on this planet doesn't mean that I'm leader of the leader, of course, right? So you need to learn, you need to be trained. So you keep going and going and going through lessons one after another until you're ready. So when you're ready, looks like you are, then Tower shows up. If you haven't clued in yourself, the Tower says you have to do that. I had this Tower moment last year in November, December, so 11 month again, which basically brought me to this path to have this channel. And I have to tell you, the doors were opening since. Nothing massively, but doors were opening. And I'm very grateful for all of you who are here and that I can serve you. So next, guys, what I'm going to look into, don't forget, from the bottom, per aspera ad astra, I think is the Latin saying from thorns to the stars, meaning you will be climbing all the way up, guys. And you're not going to have such a harsh level like 11s. Cooperation with the others, resolving issues, and having really effort on a small scale, like connecting to your family, connecting to your friends. It's going to be really something that is going to push you forward. So the next, I'm going to look into your astrological houses. We're going to see how each house is going to impact you in the upcoming year. Right, Leo. So I'll be explaining the houses as I come along. Of course, they're the houses, but sometimes they also make the entire sense kind of like being seen together. So the very first house is I am house. It's a house of awareness of self. It's about appearance and outward personality. You had this world card, right? In the other one in the second quarter. So this first house obviously is going to be something that is going to be really something that you will be paying really close attention to. There is like something that you want to finish, kind of like put the cherry on top, right? So you can see here this golden rings link the laurel wreath with the kind of serpent biting its tail, right? As you can see it here. This is kind of like really important in tarot because it is symbolizing a cycle without beginning or end, right? It's kind of apparently mobile but internal moment. The serpent kind of like represents the power that kind of can devour but also can regenerate itself. It's sort of like universal energy, right? So when you get this world, it's telling me, because you see in this card, this would be you here, Leo, because the fixed signs are holders of this 3D world. We kind of like need to push things forward in this kind of planet. So maybe you're not feeling a sense of completion. Maybe you'll be feeling that something is missing, because even though you're going to get some kind of things that are going to be fully done, like see this card usually comes with, for example, marriages or pregnancies. Not so much pregnancies, rather births, and something that kind of has been going on for a while and it's kind of completed, but something for you is amiss, right? Even though you have to understand, again, just like that forest card, that everything is a part of the cycle, right? So it is asking of you for renewal and asking of you to acknowledge what has been achieved and accepted, and what you can celebrate and what you can release, right? So don't court exhaustion of any kind of body, mind, or spirit by kind of carrying, like coming forward, right? So everything is happening in your life just as meant to. So since this is falling in your house of appearance and outward personality, I have a feeling they're going to be very, very ambitious. You will try to kind of tie some loose ends and maybe even force it. Just take it easy. This is a really, really good card. And you guys have actually lots of good cards. You have, of course, your card, the Strength, is of course appearing here as well. So let me just tell you, the second house. So I will tell you all the houses, and then this is just telling you that you have to pay attention to certain issues at certain points. This house is like about your values, about skills, monies, and possessions. And as you can see, like he is somebody who's feeling abandoned or feeling unaccepted. So it is telling me that you will not maybe have the glorious financial year. It's going to be something that you need to work on. And honestly, because when you see the other side, where it's the same situation, despair is here, but he's not a beggar and he's not in the cold, maybe you have to realize that it's not as bad as it seems. Maybe you need to budget right now when you're hearing this, because Mercury retrograde, and most likely you're listening to this during Mercury retrograde, is really important time that we can reassess things that have worked and that didn't work. So everything that benefits you is basically something that should be going forward, because also this card sometimes says that you maybe need to invest in your skills. Maybe you need to redefine your portfolio and see how to move it forward. The third house is talking about your mental activity and learning and siblings and communication. And this is a really good card to get there, right? King of Swords is somebody who is like really, really just, right? He's standing here in full armor and kind of like he seems to be very immovable. We kind of take these pictures for granted, just like you have to imagine how would it feel to be him. But look at the size of his sword, right? It is kind of like pointed in solid earth, right? And then also, I don't know if you can see it here, a butterfly is kind of like emblazoned on his breastplate, right? And also he has, and I don't know if you can see it in a picture, it's not gray, he's kind of gray and metallic, but there is a purple cloak that emphasizes his basically majesty, right? So this is talking about wisdom as well as strength. This is again linking back to who you're supposed to be built in yourself. This is a person who mastered his temper through long years of self-discipline. He thinks things through rather than acting impulsively, right? This is somebody really well respected, right? And this person's idea of evil is to betray the trust of those who believed your word. This is the person who will never break an oath, pardon me. And this is the person who is also not going to forgive people who are like breaking their promises and oaths, right? So it is kind of really interesting that this is falling into your I think house, your mental activity, your immediate environment. This is not so much you. I think it could be your reaction to your environment. You would be, and this is like blowing that lid off that we saw it over there, right? Because I think this is really telling me that you're going to really insist calling a spade a spade. You're going to really insist that certain things happen in succession that it should happen. You're not going to be feeling that you have to put yourself down, because yes, you do have strength in repeating coming in your reading. You do have the world coming back to your reading. I see that. But you're going to be sort of like assessing things, and sometimes it's needed to discharge things out of your system. This also could mean, by the way, guys, that somebody's maybe left you out in the cold and you're now clinically looking at, okay, so what can I do in the situation? How can I work with this? And now you're getting to the house number 4, and this is like your home and parents and roots and inner security here. And like this is like proverbial Ace of Swords, right? So we see here this sword, right, that is like held in the sunshine, where here is in the dark, right? And this person who is raising the sword is looking out over kind of like this lushness over here, right? So the crown all of a sudden kind of appears basically in the blue sky, and it kind of like proclaims dominion over the land. And almost like looks like, hey, it is your divine right to claim it. So when you kind of like get this card, especially in this house of your inner world, right, this represents a gift of clarity. A new idea is divinely inspired, and it will lead to success. So this is again talking about the truth. This is again connecting to your family is going to be somehow really connected with you this year, and it might be issues with the family that will actually get resolved, like in a kind of different ways. This is kind of like really kind of interesting for me, right? Because now we are getting to this house that everybody wants to talk about: romance, fun, children, and creativity. So here, maybe you have done some work, maybe quite a bit of things have been already accomplished, but you're still waiting to see where further you'll go. You see, he's taking a breather over here and wondering which next level is there for him to conquer, right? But he's not giving up. All he's saying, look, let me just take a time to kind of like see where I want to go. This is definitely a card of investment. It could be financial investment, right? It could be new projects in your life. It could be a new child, guys, because it's falling into your children's house as well. It could be a new romance that is on your way. It is something that you have been already working on, because you see, to get to this level, certain things had to be done. So now, this card is also saying there are some kind of low-bearing fruits that you can immediately kind of harvest, and this is okay. But for the rest of them, you still have to wait for them to kind of materialize. So in the house number 6, this is your work, this is your health, service, and self-improvement. We're having this 6 of Cups. So there is like this nostalgia, right? Kind of like maybe there is like still a little gap between you and a partner. There is like this disconnect, but fret not. There is this bridge that is appearing in the background, right? So it is just a matter of reaching the hand out and accepting the hand maybe on the other side, and just like getting back to this bridge, because this is simply a connection between the two people. It is not necessarily present connection, it is not necessarily physical connection. It is like one of those feelings, butterflies in the stomach, where you're so glad to talk to somebody, you're so glad to think of somebody. And this is like during Mercury retrograde, we just like really have immense amount of that emotion. And then we have the house number 7, and this is your partner's house, and that's marriage and other partnerships. So here you have the King of Cups. There is no reverse in this deck, but there is another side which you got, right? You see, here we have like this guy, during night, and here we see him by daylight, and he looks toward an open sea, right? So we do see some kind of light clouds, and I don't know if you can see it here in my sunshine over here, but there is a smiling dolphin over here, and this is kind of like really amazing, that swims behind his throne. So so if the secret of the Queen of Cups is keeping in a core of independence, this king's big secret is his playfulness. Maybe most people that you met were not like that. Maybe most people may have impression that he lives his life in a state of kind of like spirituality, kind of like dedication to God. However, he's actually quite playful and joyous in his spirituality. He's actually happy in his love, and sometimes just plain silly. Now, guys, this could be you, but this could be your partner, right? Because those closest to this King of Cups will benefit from this like kind of light-hearted attitude from this person, even though those in the outer circle can kind of like reach maybe quieter way of this wisdom. Keep in mind though that this person sometimes is not all he seems to be, so you'll have to be really careful. And this is like where I see that second lesson. Remember how we had that you had one lesson well done, and then you'll be getting a second kind of like new wave of learning the lesson. I think it's going to get through your partner. Maybe your partner, and this could be the same person, by the way, maybe somebody turned their back to you, left you out in the cold, and you kind of like grounded yourself and saying, you know what, you guys became swords because you're fighters, so you just like went with your vibrations up. And this is this new start that I've seen it over there. A new start is growing, and it's growing sort of like in foundations and also growing in emotions. Now, the partner is here almost appearing. We are seeing the back of the partner. Let me just zoom it in for you so you can see these cards closer. Here we go. So we are moving now into the house number 8. So I'm going to come back to this. In house number 8, you have the Fool. House number 8 is talking about I circulate and sex and death and letting go, sharing other people money. So again, there's a completely new start. You have Fool over here, and something's good, guys, is on the horizon for you. You might even not know what it is. Remember what I said in the 4th quarter? Just go with the flow. Just acknowledge everything, a plant, a pet, a coworker, another living beings that maybe you just don't think that can communicate with you verbally, but trust me, they communicate by giving you maybe more than most people ever given to you. So where you're heading is for sure better than where you have been. So don't be afraid to continue on your path, right? So you need to trust your instincts and be guided by your instincts. But also you need to be aware of signs that kind of like can see like red flags, right? So those signs don't have to be very obvious. If you feel this knot in the stomach, remember I said kind of go to feel your instincts, right? Just sometimes the smallest changes, the smallest notions will be enough for you to understand, I have to change my trajectory. I kind of like have to go in a different direction. So this really comes to choice of your partner. It is definitely kind of looking good, but it's also saying to me that you have to relax. You have to be more playful with your partner. Maybe the strictness, because look at here, we have the 2 different kings. This kings couldn't be more opposite. This one is very strict, very fair, but very strict, not very emotional. This one is all emotion. And that emotion sometimes can be overly, both of them can be very controlling. But when this person controls you, it is like because of, oh, I am used to doing things a certain way. But when somebody controls your emotions, this is kind of difficult, right? Because you can kind of relate to this one because the energies are really similar, but this one takes you down in depth of the emotion, and you don't know how to swim there. So hence it can appear to be manipulative from time to time, right? So as far as goes to sex and death, something will die and something new will be born. I am not talking this has to be a physical person. A phase of life is going to finish. A new phase will start. That is for sure. Whenever full comes, it's kind of heralding new beginnings and a new direction where things will actually take place, right? So you have the world and you have the full. Beginning and the end in this year. So as I said, this is possibly why you didn't get to live 11 years, because this is hard enough. It is hard enough. You need to kind of close something first. You see, you have all this time. I think this will be happening. This will be happening around the second quarter for you guys. But you, until the second quarter, you have to kind of like work on all these other issues to kind of like really reposition yourself. The house number 9 is religion, travel, and law. And this 4 of Cups here is basically showing this guy who is basically looking at those age chalices, right? That seem to be kind of washing up on the shore, right? It's not necessarily exciting atmosphere, nor is the place where you really want to be, or stuck in a fog or something, right? So since this is like higher education and philosophy and publishing and travel and law and religion, it's like a lots of things that are sort of like packed into this pretty house. Maybe for you this is not going to be a focus, because it kind of looks like, well, do I really want to do it? Am I really enthused, right? Because I did see that some of you might even change your job this year, right? You however, have to understand it is perfectly fine just to sit it out for a while. You cannot tackle everything. You cannot change this world and few other worlds. Just pick one you're going to change this year, because that is bad. Would be bad to stretch yourself too thin. So just kind of focus. You do not have to accept every opportunity that is offered to you, right? Just because you maybe feel without direction at the moment. So direction is the key. Finding this direction is really the key. And however, do your best not to sulk or take your emotions on others, right? It's kind of like really, like, you know what they say, wait and time will kind of like, this too shall pass. This kind of like is one of those emotions that maybe it's not going to be year high on accolades, because you're Leo, you like to be needed, you like to be glorified. But it looks like this year for you, it's all going to be in the aspect of your relationships. And this new start is going to be a really good one, because whenever is the new start with Ace of Swords, you're literally finding this like it's an educated opinion. So even though you might feel like, oh my gosh, I did this prep work, why didn't it end up here? Just bide your time, because I'm seeing here an Ace of Pentacles, and this is coming in your career, status, reputation, purpose, taking power. But as I said, this also cards kind of connect to each other, and you have like now lots of starts over here. And this particular start here is talking about something really long term, right? And this is also representing a gift of good fortune. So it is kind of cosmic. Yes, kind of like, yes, you're going. This is especially really good in this particular segment, in career, money, material possessions, and earthly concerns, right? So what you are going to grow here, because you're going to add to something that has already been in the process, will prosper beyond your wildest hopes. So maybe you're not going to be a great philosopher. Maybe you are not going to have immense amount of traveling this year, right? Maybe religion is not going to be that important, but boy, your career, something will reflourish or flourish. Something is really going to come into power. And talking about power, there is this house number 11 of Aquarius. It's kind of interesting that the Leo sign is coming up here. And I think this is where your 2 really kicks in. You will really need support of the other people. Just so to boot, you're getting this Aquarius sign over here. So you're getting 2 opposing signs right next to each other. Excuse me. So the strength card, I have already told you, the strength card definitely talks about you. It talks about in which direction you have to go, and saying that you are limitless. That's why you have this infinity sign over here. You can go in any direction you want to go. So you see the difference between conquering the beast and kind of like looking at it. Now, like I mean, it's saying, look, this is something I have conquered. Remember how I said, how come you have the world and you're still kind of going to the new lesson, and then again you have the world reversed, or the other side. So this is why, because you need to face your shadow selves, right? Your ideas about your power and your maybe reluctance to claim it. You need to release any chains that you still have. You need to release bondage or anyone who has power over you in the past. You kind of don't have to repeat that pattern, and this is the time and this is the year to do that. And abuse doesn't always foster more abuse. You need to confront your demons, because this is the devil that you see lurking in the background, right? So it is saying the strength is like, I mean, key card really here. And also what is really important is that you're going to really have strength, not only the strength and fortitude to kind of get there, but you're going to have friends who will be there for you, because this is falling in your house of groups. And these groups also could be religious groups, even though this particularly house kind of belongs to religion. This is going to be some kind of strength of conviction that is going to push you further up. And if somebody is trying to, as I said, push you back, you know, once you break these chains, you will never want to be captive animal again. And then the house number 12 is the house of dreams and solitudes and institutions, and also is a house of self-sabotage. And here is that friendship card, somehow taking a different kind of note. We kind of like see the sky. Mind you guys, in tarot, these 2 cards are sisters. I know they're opposing, and there is a reason why Leo and Aquarius is on the same kind of like tangent. See, this is a card number 8, and this is a card number 17. 1 and 7 is 8. Aquarius is higher vibration of Leo, because Leo has to figure out how to rule the earth. Remember when I said number 2 and number 11? Then you guys are getting to Aquarius, which has, the star has 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides to indicate that this is a higher level of Leo. This is like where you're obtaining this knowledge. This is where you're opening your wings and flying up. This is where the energy gets higher, right? Because it goes fire and it goes air, it goes higher, right? So when you get this side in the reading in this particular deck, right? You know, I think the breakthrough is coming. And this is talking about possibly some kind of sabotage that you guys had. That's all I'm kind of like feeling. But this card, everything is falling into place. Harmony is restored. And there is like this new blossoming that is going to happen. So you need to call your highest self. And you need to expect miracles. And you guys will be on your path. So it looks like you're moving from that Leo path to, because Leo is all about relationships. You see, like that's why you're redefining this concept of these relationships over here. Aquarius is not about relationships. Aquarius is about the groups, about what really is helpful to mankind. So you're like actually really transferring yourself to a much higher level of consciousness. And you're at the beginning of this, so it's just saying don't be impatient if certain things are not growing as quick as you want, or if you do not get accolades as quick as you want, or if you even feel that you're rejected. That's basically usually what happens to people who always want to kind of like push the envelope. other people don't understand you, you know. They always say the truth goes in three phases. I believe Schopenhauer said that. The first is denied, and second step is being ridiculed, and in a third stage is just being accepted as self-evident. So guys, good year. And let's now check your Lenormand. And with Lenormand, we're going to just simply see just very kind of like down to earth issues and events that might be happening to you this year. Alright, Leos, so there are two main significators, the gentleman and the lady, and it is kind of interesting that the lady is in the house of the sun, which is your ruler, and it's also falling in the house of an anchor. So ladies, you kind of like do want to kind of like slow down. You kind of like, there's like certain things that will kind of get grounded this year. I see that for sure. It's kind of interesting that the grave being next to you, don't get scared, the grave is falling in the house of the moon, which is more or less honor and fame and work. Maybe you'll be slowing down things at work for some reason. Especially for the ladies, there is something that is really faded this year. This is the family. This is something that's going to be relating to the family, and we have seen it in the other reading. The family is going to be very important. Something with the contracts. If I had the ring over here, I would say you're getting married. But the ring is being cut off here. The sickle is cutting the ring off. It could be the end of some kind of long distance contract or long distance relationship that can be both work or personally related, but for some reason you're not going to be really upset about that. In fact, I think it could be either a mutual decision or it could be your decision, because this communication cards is right like above you, and the clever is right like positioning this like as a kind of really good thing. Now this person can represent your partner and can represent you as well, and it's kind of interesting. This person has the stork and the child, right? So the grave is in the house of the moon, which the moon is right next to the partner over here, and so it happens that this is in the house of the child. So it looks like that you're either with a partner with whom you're getting pregnant and you need to get a shotgun marriage, something like that, or it could be a third person that is kind of like coming in a way over here. And maybe this is kind of that issue that kind of has to be handled with, because the clouds, we have them here as well. So that with the King of Swords, kind of like putting your foot down on what needs to be done. Now, this is really interesting, because if I just see the partner, which might be you as well, there are lots of issues that kind of like lots of puzzles that need to fall into place. Where like you're cutting together, like you're knighting this bear, which is right next to the partner, and he's knighting the tower, which is right next to you. Also, you're meeting in a sickle, and you're meeting in the clouds. As you can see, these two cards that mirror each other over here are mirroring over a whole bunch of issues that are not necessarily of an emotional kind of value. There could be a different person involved over here. And in this particular case, this person could be somebody who, mind you, this person could be involved with this person because they have put the anchor down, but maybe they are not really definite about that, but you find somebody in a way. However, like for you, what mostly it's of interest to you is like, okay, it's protectiveness. There is like mama bear. You are becoming this mama bear, and clock tower generally talks about the government. It's not a tower like in tarot. It talks about government, contracts, even prisons, some kind of like strict paperwork sort of a thing, contracts. And especially with here, this cross can talk lots of things. It can mean fate, it can mean religious factors, but as I was saying, this is falling in a house of sex, which kind of like the whip is right next to it. So I'm wondering here if, guys, you're going to have, sorry to say that if you don't like it, a child out of the wedlock, because look at this guy has a stork and a child. This guy is definitely going to have a child. If you're a man, you guys, so you know that dating is going to go in this direction. It might actually happen to be something that you're going to find difficult to accept. The mountain is obviously there. Mountains always show obstacles, right? But this mountain is falling in the house of ancestry. It's falling in the house of health. So your partner might have some kind of health issues as well, because he also have the tree in the trajectory over here. But this mountain is like here next to the house, and the house is right next to the heart. Home is where the heart is, as they say. I think this person is kind of like undecisive at whom he wants to kind of have this home with, because look at this. This heart is here and uniting the heart. He's here, but so is the snake uniting the heart. They're like, there is one person too many over here. And the sickle is cutting this heart. So it could be this way, that one person, because I see the third person here, I see that one person is going to get hurt, but the sickle is going this way. But you kind of like want a commitment. I don't know. Do you feel that maybe somebody is betraying your love by being with somebody else? This doesn't have to be a lover or, you know, cheating on you. This can simply be like a mother, like, you know, the friend, somebody who is just squawking and kind of like feeding with negativity or issues. Or simply, it really can be a temptation, somebody at work who is like simply trying to charm your partner, and not so much for even long term. It can mess your entire life. So be really careful on that level. Remember how I saw this King of Cups reversed, because that King of Cups can be very easily can sell you on illusions, because this guy here has both moon and clouds. He might be a big talker. He might be saying, I want to settle. I want to kind of create a future for the two of us. I do love you. But not just like that. Things just like vanish. It's kind of like really important to understand. Now, the key to this reading, and where is the key? Over here. Where do I see the key? Oh, look at that. The key is like right above the house of the key. So the key is in the house of the letter. Something you already know that is brewing. Something has already happened in the past. Maybe you have been going through back and forth with this person, because this house here talks about the certainty, right? This house talks about, you know, also this is kind of relating to this house. Cross lies down on the Lilith's house, which is this house of that sex, family protection. And it's also house of doctors, guys. So I'm wondering if your partner has been sick and something needs to be resolved, something is in a way, or simply that is just emotional turmoil caused by somebody else. But then the sunshine is coming out. Right after the clouds, there is the sun. It's just so it is here. It's just like it bothers me that I still see the whip and karma, which saying to me, cat, stay away. This is like what shall be will be, kind of a card, right? But I can tell you it's kind of falling in the house of the lilies. So something with family. Family is going to be very crucial in some decisions you'll be making this year. And it could be literally forcing you, as I said, in a shotgun wedding, or some decisions will not be made directly by you. So that's why it feels like somebody might close the door on you, but you will really believe in this fate. And that's what I said. These are really big issues over here that I see, guys, because you know what I said, stay in the moment. Don't kind of like keep going really, really high up, because there are still lots of issues that I see that you don't understand. You having the corners of this reading, the journal and the grave, both of them are cards that are actually asking for many things to be still rediscovered. So you don't know all the elements about the story. As far as the trajectories, as I said, it will be dating, it will be meeting somebody. That's what I saw, sort of a breakup at one point, which actually I see it here as well. But I also see the wedding. I also see kind of like being pushed into this, maybe by your family, maybe by the religion, maybe by your partner. Or maybe, you know, you're going to get pregnant and you'll feel, I need to get married. What else do I see over here? It is really important. The heart is in the house of a fox. So this is talking about, this is warning you about to caution yourself about whatever you are doing. Take an extra step. And this is the King of Swords. Really, really, really think about that. The gentleman is in the house of a child as well, right? So hence, it really feels like, especially male Leos or your partners, will make somebody pregnant. So whether this is you or somebody else. And it could be even 2 children. And the ring is in the house of the stars. So this is really good. And the stars are here. And this is you guys. And this also can be you. And the sickle is a bad card. But it's a bad card where it cuts. And it's cutting this heart, which is kind of weird. Almost looks like maybe you're going to not to marry for love, but out of obligation. This also can be a man and this can be a female. Maybe you made somebody pregnant and you're marrying them as well. And this could be a long distance relationship, guys. This also could mean something long distance we'll have to put on the back burner. So to seal your reading, guys, I will pull a couple of cards for 2018 to get a more practical advice. So Leo, 2018, deep knowing, and Leo, 2018, Leo, 2018, Leo, oops, yeah, I guess you got 2 cards here. This one really wanted to come first. Magical map shifter and come together. This is, by the way, also the strength card. It's kind of interesting, 778. So let's start with deep knowing card over here. Okay, it says intuition is the faculty that allows you to enter into a dialogue with the source, the consciousness that you're a part of but cannot see with the naked eye. It is perplexing that people are thought to ignore this natural capacity to navigate their journeys, to access their inner guidance. Know that you have an ability to read between the lines and find all the truth that was missing when the story was told. This deep knowing allows you to open the door to wisdom far greater than what is available in the limitations of human experience. You're given information that may make no sense whatsoever to the logical mind of 5 senses, but which is 100% correct and true. The trick is to listen and then to act accordingly. You're now invited into the sacred dialogue of deep knowing. So tune in and trust your vibes. They will be right. Ask and you will receive answers from unusual sources. And then relationship message. There are occasions when you just know deep in your heart and soul that the person is going to play a meaningful role in your life. Someone crosses your path and suddenly, out of blue, you're connected at a level impossible to describe. That feeling marks a moment in time etched indelibly onto your soul. Someone has entered your life who will be instrumental in your journey, so pay attention. 2 hearts are calling each other to begin an alchemical process. This is also a sign that your intuition about the person you care about is correct. Trust your heart to lead you now. Magic is about to happen. It kind of gives me goosebumps because this has a level of 7 vibration, and here you're going into magical map shifter, which is also level of 7. So it's simply telling me that you will be seeking some answers and truths. However, you'll be on a really, really right path. And here, magical map shifter. It says, Spirit orchestrates everyone's destiny. When the magical map shifter card arrives, it comes with a mission to make you aware of the people who come into your life to impact your personal growth. Perhaps you may meet a soulmate whose presence invites you to be the best you that you can be, or someone who leads you out of difficulty and into a place of safety or success. Pay attention to those individuals who cross your path today and cause you to reflect on your journey. Be awake and aware, and you'll recognize them for the important change agents they are. Your whole perspective about who you are and why you are here will shift. The magical map shifter always initiates you into a better version of yourself. Hi, Shelby. I heard you crying. I heard you waking up. You want to say hi to Leo, right? Really? You love Leo? But Leo has the most important message because they are coming into this number 8, into their strength. So let me read that for you. Hasaf, is it okay? Oh, okay. You little furry sucker. And there, guys, good news. Come together. Love needs to be shared. Love needs to be expressed. Drawing the come together card is a sign that you're on the path to discover the nature of this emotion in all its forms and expression. Romantic, familial, unconditional, spiritual. In each instance, there is another being involved. Love involves a give and take between you and a significant other, a relative, a friend, an animal, and or spirit. This card assures you that love has come calling and seeks a partner in its dance. Know that you're cherished. Like a magnet, you're attracting love into your life. This is a time for harmonious, caring partnerships. That is lovely because remember how I started this whole entire reading with this big speech? This is about number 11. This is about doing a homework. And your homework, if you guys do it, if you kind of work on your relationships, boy, they're going to end up really well in your relationship. And I guess this is possibly what the Lenormand is saying to me, that certain ways that have to stop and the new ways will start, because it looks like you're not settling for the old things, and that's why the fate is kicking in and assisting you to push yourself into that strength, which is your card. So my dear Leo, thank you so much for purchasing this reading. It was a pleasure to serve you in 2017, and I hope you'll be coming to the channel in 2018 as well. All the best. Love you.